Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Monday to you now, November the 14th, and we've got some college basketball to discuss here. A couple of weeks into the season, and we've got we got 3 games. In fact, we're going to break down for you, see if we can come up with a few best bets as well, and we're going to do it on this Monday with 3 of the finest over at wagertalk.com as we welcome in Steve Merril in the house, along with Dave Cokin and Bryan Leonard. Gentlemen, happy Monday. Can't believe it. College Hoops is among us on a $9 Monday here. Bryan Leonard, tell us what's going on over at wagertalk.com for you.
I've got one play up. It doesn't go today. It goes on Wednesday. It'll be a MAC play, 5% in the MAC. It's only $9 till midnight tonight, and we're on an 11-3 run in college football. Graduated from Akron University in 1985. Always paid special attention to the MAC. And MAC football this year has been excellent as always. So looking forward to another winner. Still got one more show after this, so we'll put up some plays for today a little bit later in the evening today.
Love it. All right. It's going to be an extremely profitable Monday here. Steve Merril, a little something about that, my friend. What do you got ready to go on a $9 Monday today?
I could still hear the excitement from Bryan Leonard back in like 1999 when the MAC went on the board for college football in the main betting rotation. We used to just crush it. I don't mess as much with the MAC, Bryan, as I used to, but still some great value, especially in college basketball, small conferences, of course. I've actually got a $9 steamroller blowout for college hoops on a 75% run in basketball, NBA and college combined since last week. So check that out right now, $9 Monday. Also Monday Night Football, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com.
Yeah, guys, and you better head on over. Nobody has been more profitable this year here. 87% on his 5% plays in 2022. Dave Cokin, didn't take you long. You got one up immediately, $9 right now for this week in college football, I believe. What else is happening?
Yeah, it's a game I like a lot, obviously, because I don't make many 5% plays. It's up now. It's $9, so you can't beat the price, and the record is sensational. There's also a free college football play for the weekend that's up now. Pardon me, I'm looking at my cat who's trying to figure out whether he wants to stay on my lap or get on the floor. What do you want to do? Huh? Anyway, those are up now. No basketball for me tonight, but I do have 2 hockey games, and those are on a 7-1 run, so pretty happy with that. I had a good week. And looking to keep it going this week.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. 87% this year in his 5% plays. They don't come around often. When they do, head on over right now. Grab it $9 at wagertalk.com while we head to our first game here we're going to talk about. And that's going to be part of the Gavitt Games here with DePaul taking on Minnesota. A little Big East taking on Big Ten. 134.5 is a total. DePaul as a small favorite here. 1.5, and the Blue Demons, not exactly impressive so far, but hey, it's a long season, Bryan Leonard. How do you think this one shapes up here tonight?
Well, unfortunately, the line's about where I made it. We do have some advantages early on in the season when people just go by wins and losses. Don't know if that's enough to get us in this one, but keep in mind, DePaul comes into this game 2-0. Both games at home. They beat Western Illinois the other day, 86-74. But both Dave and I are big proponents of the Shot Quality website. And Shot Quality website says they should have lost that game by 8. So they were very fortunate there. So they really only had a 26% chance of winning that game based on the Shot Quality numbers. Then they come back and they beat Loyola by 6 in a game that they should have won by double digits. So that was a solid win. But we always have to take a look at these teams that pick off wins when they probably didn't deserve it. And that was what DePaul was in their opening game. We saw something similar with Minnesota. They're also 2-0. They beat St. Francis pretty handily in the first game, but they beat Western Michigan on the 7th, 61-60, in a game that was a coin flip. 47% chance of win. So that one's not as egregious as the DePaul one. So DePaul may be getting a little bit of more publicity here than what they should in this game. So I'm finding a little bit of value on Minnesota, but not enough to play it.
It's a big test for them here tonight, and they lost, I believe, their top 3 scorers last year there. So they're kind of regrouping. So far, so good, Merril. What do you think we get from DePaul and Minnesota tonight?
Yeah, one thing I always like to look at is tempo in college basketball, and at least based on last year's tempo numbers, DePaul, one of the faster teams in the country, top 100, Minnesota, one of the 70 or so slowest half-court teams in the country. So that does catch my eye because I think home teams normally can dictate the tempo a little bit more, and if that's the case, if Minnesota can slow DePaul down a bit tonight, I do think this will be a tough spot for DePaul, especially being their first road game of the season after being a double-digit home favorite. And as Brian said, they won both of those games straight up, but they failed to cover both of them as they underachieved, and now they're on the road against a step up in class, if you will. Minnesota also has a very unique home court advantage. It's more of a bizarre setup. You know, the benches are below court level, kind of like Vanderbilt had back in the day. And I've always felt Minnesota's home road dichotomy is a little more extreme than some other schools as well. So I don't think home court's being fully factored into the line here. I would lean Minnesota. And if they can dictate the tempo, I would also lean under in this game. And if you look at the line move, it opened 138 down to 134, 134.5. So we have seen some sharp money on the under. We've actually seen a reversal. Minnesota opened as a slight favorite, now a dog. I disagree with that move. I'd lean Minnesota in the under in this one.
All right, looking towards Minnesota in this one. How about you, Dave? What do you think we're going to get from DePaul, who's now a favorite in this one?
Well, I talked more in Minnesota. At the start of last season, everybody was down on Minnesota. They're going to be terrible. They got no chance. And eventually, when they got to the Big Ten play, they got somewhat overmatched. But early on, they were a lot better than people expected. I think we're hearing a lot of the same things this year about the Golden Gophers. Bad team, lost a lot of talent, going to be a long season. It probably will be once they get into conference play. But I think in these early matchups, there might be some advantage to playing on Minnesota. They might be a little bit underrated to start the season. This is such a strong league, the Big Ten. If it's not the best conference, it's close to it. I think maybe the Big 12 is better overall. But I think the value here is more on the Gophers side with the line having moved. So I'll give you a check mark next to Minnesota.
Yeah, always a tricky place to play, too, DePaul, with their first road game of the season here, guys. So we'll see how that goes in that one. Should be fun, and so should the next one, as Penn State taking on Butler in this one. 144 is the total. Penn State laying 5.5 in this. And Merril, what do you think here about the Nittany Lions laying almost 6 here at this point?
Well, one thing I like to look at early in the season is momentum. Obviously, when you have a ton of transfers, young players, college basketball more than ever now, teams that get out of the gate fast often can jump on 3, 4, 5 games off of other teams. And now Butler, of course, impressive win, 89-53. But the momentum I'm really talking about is Penn State. Back-to-back home wins, big covers. They won by, 25? And I believe 25 in both games, actually. They're only a 12 and 18-point favorite. In general, the momentum for teams that play at home and stay at home works. We talked about Minnesota kind of having that home court advantage. And I think that could be the difference in this game right now. Penn State shooting 50% from the field. Butler did win that game with 89 points the other night against New Orleans, despite shooting just 4 for 24 from three-point range. So I do think there's upside with both of these teams. But I'm going to decide. I think the deciding tiebreaker for me right now, and what could be 2 play-on squads early in the season, is home court advantage tonight. Also, once again, like Dave said, the Big Ten Conference is a little bit of a tiebreaker for me as well in these non-conference games. So I'll side with another Big Ten home team in Penn State.
Thad Matta back for Butler. Dave, wasn't a great season last year. I think they lost 7, only returned 2 players here. What do you think on the road against Penn State?
Yeah, I'll make this one kind of simple. Ken Pom made this game 12.
Oof.
And the odds makers made it a lot less than that. I have a tendency to side with the odds makers when they're that far off the Ken Pom numbers because, quite frankly, the Ken Pom numbers are generally right about where the line is. So the odds makers definitely seeing this one differently than the analytics provider that Ken Pom did. And I also think that Butler is simply going to be a lot better than they were last year. I didn't think they were a well-coached basketball team. I think they're just going to be, look, contender in the Big East, no. But I think they're an under-the-radar squad to some extent. So I'll lean to the underdog side here. Again, I'm not playing anything tonight in college basketball, so these are just opinions. But I'll side with the road team in this game.
All right, looking towards Butler here. And, Bri, 4 returning starters, couple of transfers, and a pretty hyped-up freshman class here for Penn State. It's worked out so far so good. What do you think they do tonight?
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo a little bit what Dave said. I'm showing, based on the Wager Talk line service, this line opened at 9.5, so money has come in on Butler. And Dave talked about the Ken Pom. When Ken Pom was the only one out there, it was definitely worth having. But now, at least in my mind, the lines makers are pretty much lining up with whatever Ken Pom uses. So if you have something differing from Ken Pom, and there's people out there that do, I think there's some money to be made there. And it may be tonight, although I won't be on this game. You mentioned Thad Matta, former Ohio State coach. I really think as the season goes on, Butler will be an improved team we can make some money on. I'm convinced he's a very good coach. I liked him when he was at Ohio State. Steve talked about the way Penn State's gotten off to the hot start. In fact, they're leading the nation right now in effective field goal percentage. So you got a team playing a little bit over their head right now because of the shooting they've had. I tend to agree with the underdog a little bit here. It's not the line I probably wanted to play, and it is the first road game. And as you mentioned, they are really shorthanded, but they did bring in a couple of pretty nice transfers. So I think as the season goes on, this is a team who can make some money on in Butler. But tonight it's just a lane for myself.
Yeah, that's where he started his coaching career. Went to Ohio State for all those years. Had some success. We'll see if good old Butler can get it done again here tonight against Penn State on the road. And our final game here, boy, this is an interesting one. FAU taking on Florida, the Gators. Or you can play the opening again. That's fine. And we've got here, what are we looking at now? 13 for Florida, 145 is the number here. And an interesting... Florida didn't look all that great against Kennesaw. They had to come back and win that one. They won by 10, I think, there, Dave. Wasn't a great showing, but a lot of expectations for the team this year. I think it was a 13-point loss against Mississippi State for Florida Atlantic, or Ole Miss, rather, and that was just on Friday. So what do you think we get in this one? Another 13 up there.
I think the number's about where it should be. I don't know what to make of Florida yet. Haven't watched them play, so anything I would say about them at this point would be complete bullshit. Because again, I don't know much about them other than their roster. I'll have something on the best bet that's a little more substantial. I got nothing on this game.
Yeah, they FAU, Merril, you talked about tempo. Whew. 227th, I believe, there. They're going to let that clock bleed out here tonight. What do you think we get here with against Florida?
Well, it's interesting, Joe, because last year Florida Atlantic was 152 in tempo, which is almost dead even. There's 350 some teams, I think, so that's almost right in the middle of the pack. Florida last year was 267 in tempo, and both teams were actually better offensively efficiency versus their defensive efficiency numbers. So Yeah, we'll see if it plays out that way tonight. If it plays more like last season, there maybe could be a little bit of value with the over. And we have seen the over-under go from 144.5 up to 145. Not a big move. A lot of uncertainty with Florida, just like Dave said. I don't have a great feel for this game either. Gators only return, I believe, one starter this year. And don't read too much into that 36-point win against Stony Brook last Monday, a week ago. Stony Brook was out without both of their starting guards for that game. So they were really beat up, and couldn't read much into that. And like you said, Joe, they underperformed as a 20-point favorite, winning by just 10 against Kennesaw. Now they're facing what I think is a better Florida Atlantic team. If you do watch this game tonight, Florida Atlantic's got a 7'1" center, Golden, and it's really kind of a freak show because every one of their other four starters is 6'4" or shorter. In fact, three of the other starters are 6'3", 6'2", and 6 foot, and you got a 7'1" out there. So it really kind of looks like a circus show at times. Florida does have a big man, obviously, in Castleton at 6'11", so I think they do match up well here. Not a game I'll be using tonight, but a game I think you want to keep an eye on to find out a little bit more about both these squads.
Yeah, I mean, they're almost a 40% shooting team from behind the arc, FAU there, Brian. And if there's one thing Florida can do, it's play some defense from behind the arc there. So what do you think? What gives here tonight in this one?
Well, Steve talked about the one big player. He's got to stay out of foul trouble in this one when you play against a team like Florida. This is actually going to be my best bet on the show, so I'll talk about that more in a moment. But like Dave, I'm likely passing in college basketball today, so it's one of my weaker opinions, but we'll save that for the best bet.
All right, guys, quick reminder here, too. We'll go around the horn and see what play they like a little bit more than the rest here. But if you head over to wagertalk.com right now, it is $9 Monday. And you heard the guys talking about it. Dave Cokin, he's got that 5% best bet up already, $9 in college football for this weekend. They don't come around often. Head over to his page at wagertalk.com. We heard Bryan Leonard talk about his love for the MAC conference, and boy, we got some great games this week coming up. A little MACtion this week, and he's already locked and loaded there. And of course, Steve Merril ready to roll here, guys. NBA, college hoops, and of course, college football and the NFL. So Merril, kick us off here if you would. Give us a game here you like a little bit more than the rest tonight.
Yeah, I got to look at a free college basketball play for tonight on Monday. And just a quick reminder, it is $9 Monday at wagertalk.com. The concept is quite simple. You get a huge discount on all best bets on Monday. Single plays are usually anywhere from $25 to $35 a pop. Get them for $9 tonight. And I've got the Monday night football winner between the Commanders and Eagles. Not my Washington Commanders, no longer. Maybe a Redskin fan back in the day. But I more importantly actually have a strong college basketball best bet tonight. And I bring that up because we have crushed college hoops over the year. It's a great time to be playing it, and off to a 75% run over the past week in both NBA and college basketball combined. So check out $9 Monday best bets right now. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. Let's look at a free college basketball play tonight at 7 Eastern. Going to look at the under between DePaul and Minnesota. Now, I think Minnesota at home has the edge here. Very unique home court advantage, and they have remained at home now for 3 straight games, whereas DePaul's coming off 2 straight home wins. Failed to cover both those games. Now they're on the road. But Minnesota's actually gone from a slight favorite to a slight 1.5-point dog. The total has dropped from 138 down to 134.5. I think that's where the sharp money is, and I agree with that move. I do favor Minnesota in this game, but I think the total's the safer play because Minnesota's going to look to dictate their tempo, slow down half-court style against a DePaul team that likes to play more up-tempo, and I think the home team is usually able to dictate the tempo more. So I like under 134.5 between Minnesota and DePaul. Golden Gophers on the season so far holding opponents to just 37% shooting, just 24% from the arc. And DePaul also giving up less than 39% shooting defensively. So I think it'll be a low-scoring game tonight in Minnesota. DePaul, Minnesota under 134.5 at 7 Eastern on Monday. Don't forget $9 Monday Night Football and a strong college basketball best bet as well as that 75% winning run continues. $9 Monday, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com.
All right, and Dave, how about it? Which one of these games tonight might you like a little bit more than the rest here?
None of these 3 that we talked about. And I'm not playing this game either. But you've got probably the worst matchup of the board tonight. Eastern Washington taking on Mississippi Valley State. I mean, these are 2 bad teams. But Eastern Washington is less bad than Miss Valley State. I actually watched Miss Valley last week. It was an early game, against Baylor, and they are really awful. I mean, this is one of the 10 worst teams in the country, and they're rated as such at Ken Pom. I think there's 2 teams worse than they are. So Eastern Washington gets a chance to get their first win, and I think they will without too much trouble. Line's big, but Miss Valley can't play at all. So I'll take Eastern Washington minus the points. The 5% play is up. I have less of these than just about anybody. I've had one in college football this year at 173-0. I don't think this is going to be that lopsided, but I think it's going to be lopsided. It's a favorite, and I think they're in a great spot. Game's up for $9. There's also a free college football play that's up along with that. Check them out now at wagertalk.com.
Head on over, guys. $9 Monday. Bryan Leonard, he's got his best bets on there for a little action football. What do you got tonight for us here, Brian?
We're going to go back to the game that we talked about earlier, and I do want to mention I have put up a hockey free play up on the site. It just missed being a play. If we get some line movement on it, maybe it will end up being a play for my clients. But I'm going to take a look at that Florida Atlantic and Florida game. Florida Atlantic just played that one game against Mississippi. On the road, they lose by 13. Shot quality says they lose by 10. So pretty much we got what we thought we were going to get out of this team. Their adjusted shot quality defensively is 328. They did not play very good defense in that game, and that's always a concern when you're playing a team with better athletes, which is what Florida is here. But Florida, I think, is in a bad spot here. Number one, they play Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic's a team. The smaller teams from your home state team to get up for these games when they get a chance to play the powerhouse teams. In fact, there was a quote out of Florida Atlantic that they'd circled this game coming into the season. They had to go back to 2010 for the last time these two teams played. Florida's 3-0 straight up against them in their career. But Florida Atlantic's bringing back 5 returning starters. They just faced this Mississippi team on the road, so I don't think they're going to be intimidated here against Florida at home. And when you look at Florida, they beat Tennessee State by 10. The shot quality says they should have won by 6, pretty much similar. But the last game out, they should have won by, they beat Stony Brook by 36, and they should have only won by 28. So they're coming off an easy win, but not as quite as easy as their record shows. They've got Florida State on deck. First road game of the season. Florida State's banged up a little bit right now, but if you're a player on Florida and you started the season shooting as well as they have, and you're playing a smaller school from inside your state, and you got the bigger school, Florida State, coming on deck, and then you've got Xavier after that on the road. So I think they may take Florida Atlantic a little bit lightly here. I originally sent this over as a full game play, plus the 13. But I kind of like the first half a little bit better based on what Steve was talking about with the starter, the center. We know he'll be able to play his full minutes in the first half of this game. He could get in foul trouble later on. So even though I used the full game as my free play here, I kind of like the first half a little bit better.
All right, kind of liking the first half. Going with it there, guys. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, well, they've got to play as well tonight. They're going to look at a total in Belmont and Lipscomb. They're looking for that game to go up and over the total here. And if you haven't done so, head over to goldsheet.com. Make sure you check it out. Great handicapping tools there. Great write-ups just like that one. Of course, all you have to do is visit goldsheet.com. Sign up there, guys. You'll have access to all the analytics and, of course, the write-ups, which are fantastic. All right, I'm going to look at our producers going to love this because I'm going Houston and Oral Roberts, and I'm going under here tonight. Kelvin Sampson's teams, they've given up, 91 total points in back-to-back blowouts here. I love Max Asmus. The kid is an absolute stud, but he's going to have a real hard time against the length and athleticism against this Houston team tonight. So I think this one stays under the total, 142.5. with the Houston Cougars and Oral Roberts here tonight. Once again, a recap, guys. Bryan Leonard going FAU first half. Take those 7.5 points. Merrill likes the DePaul, Minnesota under $134.5. Dave likes Eastern Washington going up against Mississippi Valley State minus the 18.5. I'm looking at the under in the Houston-Oral Roberts game, while the Gold Sheet, they like the over in the Belmont-Lipscomb game at 153.5. And again, $9 Monday, guys. Those $9 best bets are up and available right now. Go grab that 5% play from Dave Cokin in college football right now. You heard Brian just tell you he added a best bet in hockey, not to mention his action already up for $9. And Steve Merril ready to roll here tonight. NBA as well as college basketball. $9 best bets here. Gotta love it. Visit all three of these gentlemen over at wagertalk.com. And make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow. More college basketball breakdowns for you. Until then, on behalf of Dave Cokin, Steve Merril, and Bryan Leonard, guys, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with all your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.